How are you doing today, Andy?
I'm good. It's a good start to a new year. Wasn't expecting snow this morning, so I spent a couple hours shoveling the driveway. But no, everything's been great. It's been a great break, great holiday break. Ready to get back to it.
Yeah, I just noticed that snow too. Did the weather predict snow?
I missed it. I must have missed it because when I went to bed at 11 o'clock, there wasn't a cloud in the sky, and woke up this morning and a couple inches of snow. So
yeah, it was
surprising.
It was. I thought it was kind of cool because I complain about the cold. I like it when it snows.
Yeah.
When I went outside, because we were ready to roll, and then I looked outside. I was like, oh snap, there's a bunch of snow. Yeah. So I go shovel. I gotta go take out or brush the truck off.
Yep.
And I was thinking, I was like, why didn't it snow like for New Year's or Christmas?
It would have been nice for Christmas. Just have a white Christmas, right?
Yeah, that would have been great.
Yeah.
What'd you guys do for Christmas?
it was nice. We just stayed home. Normally we are so busy with a couple boys, doing 3 different basketball teams. It was nice just to kind of have some time off and be home and refuel, get started back again today. So, be added to my wife and I'll be in 2 different cities this weekend, coaching 2 different teams. But it was nice just to be home. Good family. Yeah. Good family time.
Do you guys any plans for, well, let me go back to it. How was 2024 for you?
It was great. It was great. No complaints. Kids, everybody's healthy. It was a very prosperous, personally for our family. It was fantastic. Work-wise was great for my wife and I. So, no complaints. I look forward to what 2025 has.
You got any, are you one of those people that has like a resolution also? Or?
I didn't make any New Year's resolutions. Not because I didn't, think about it or want to. I'm sure there's some things that, everybody wants to change, or get better at. I think, for me, it's just kind of, better time management and those kind of things just to make sure that I'm making the most of every day. So, I'm not a big, hey, I'm going to exercise every day because I usually do that, anyway. Or, hey, I'm going to eat better because I like to eat. But I think that it's the personal things that I think are, more time with family, those kind of things.
Yeah, I think those things are important.
Yeah.
For New Year's resolutions, I want to say this the right way. Like when people say, for example, like, oh yeah, I want to eat better or do the weight loss. I feel like there's some people, I mean, maybe it's changed nowadays. They wait. Like they'll say probably like in November and oh yeah, I'll wait till New Year's. I say, no, don't wait till like the New Year's. Start now.
Start when you feel it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's just me.
Yeah.
I don't know how people.
Yeah. I know. I know that in the, the exercise industry, people start the gym in January and It's like, well, you know what? If you're going to start it, if you're thinking about it in November, you should have started in November. You'd been 2 months ahead of a schedule.
Yeah.
So I don't know. For me, I just kind of, it's more personal. It's more a personal thing. What can I do better with my family? Those kind of things. Not the, hey, I'm going to lose 50 pounds. Although I could afford to, to lose a couple pounds. But if I stick, to the things that are really true and the things that really matter, things work out better.
What I just noticed throughout these years now, since now I'm getting older and now I have a family.
Yeah.
I feel like, well, for me, and I want to know your opinion, I feel like time is going faster.
You bet.
So it is a normal thing.
You bet. Yeah. It's, my son, my older son had a sleepover last night. So I think I had 7 of his buddies in our basement. And I realized, holy smokes, I've been coaching these kids for 3 years. Look how big they are. The time is, they're in 8th grade. They'll be in high school next year.
Whoa.
And, and my younger son is, again, it's just so darn fast. Yeah. When you have a family, everything seems to speed up, and you kind of want to bottle your moments and you want to bottle what you have in front of you and make it last longer.
Yeah. Cause now I'm starting to appreciate more. Cause like my daughter, I was thinking back, 4 years ago, she was in kindergarten.
Yeah.
Now, so she's in 4th grade, next year, 5th grade. I'm like, well, she's almost there in middle school.
Yeah.
And then I told my wife all this, or I tell my wife this all the time. I said, hey, one day we're probably going to wake up, boom, wake up for her wedding or something. Yeah. I'm like, man, it's cool.
Yeah.
It's kind of scary. Like, because when I was a kid, I feel like, man, I would be waiting. I'm like, man, when is Christmas break coming? Or, I want this quick. And now I'm like, I kind of want it to slow down a little bit.
Yeah. I've even just kind of been wondering, where's the last 13? I've had the last, couple weeks off. Where did they go? Like, what did we do? And now they're over, and now it's gone. Now it's like, oh, now it's time to go back to work. Well, that's crummy.
Yeah.
But yeah, time does speed up. You can't stop it. That's why for me, I'm a big proponent of enjoying it every day while you can.
Yeah. Do you think it's crazy that now, like, so what is January 2nd? It's 2025. I'm like, I remember it was like 2010 or even like 2000, like 2025.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember my high school graduation in 1989 seems so long ago. It shouldn't be, but I mean, it wasn't that long ago, but my goodness gracious, if you even just kind of think of it like, holy smokes, that was a long time ago. Where'd the time go? Yeah. So, again, kind of in 2025, just slowing down and enjoying moments more as they come.
I'll go a little off topic and then I'll get back to it. Do you remember when it was 1999? 1999. And then they were talking about Y2K or stuff like that.
Man, everything was going to stop and everything was going to, computers, nothing was going to work. And I remember all that.
Why was that? I was still a little young.
I think it was going into the 00. I think they thought all the clocks and everything would get messed up. The computers would get messed up going back to 00, thinking maybe it was the 1900s. My dad's a computer engineer, and he tried to explain it to me at one point, and he lost me 30 seconds in because, his speech is so much, higher than mine because he really thinks about these things. And I do remember him saying, it was kind of going back to, the clocks and the computers not recognizing the 00s, in front, and maybe thinking it was, 1900s, and really kind of restarting everything and banking systems and things of that sort.
Was he freaking out, or he said everything's gonna be fine?
No, he said everything was going to be fine. It was, he wasn't too worried about it. But the funny thing is, he wasn't too worried about it, but he still made sure that he was prepared, like just in case. Like, I'm not really worried about it, but I'm going to prepare just in case. Let's take a little extra money out of the bank and put it in the sock drawer, and just in case things aren't working properly for a couple days. But no, he wasn't worried about it.
One of them that did kind of scare me a little bit was you remember this, the 2012?
You bet.
Yeah, I remember. So before it was more, popular about the end of the world. I remember it was a few years ago. So I'm gonna say I read this like in 2009 because I was, internet started up a lot, and I was on Wikipedia, and I saw something about, I don't know what I was on Wikipedia, but it said something about 2012 ending, and it was 2008. Yeah. 2008, and it said something about world ending, but it didn't say December 21st. It said Christmas. It said December 25th, and then I think later on, I think it kind of changed to December 21st. But me, I remember I was in high school. It was my senior year, and it was our last day in school, and I was in it was our history or government class. I was looking outside the window. People were freaking out. I'm like, man, zombies are gonna come. I was freaking out. And then, hours came, the day came, school ended. I go back home, and then the next day, bro, I'm like, wow.
Here I am.
Yeah.
Still here.
Apparently, not everything on the internet's true.
Yeah. Shocking, right? I know.
But that was me.
Yeah.
But let's get back to it. I had a few people ask, they're like, hey, can you get someone? I think you're the first one that's, I guess, technically like part of the school district on. It's fascinating. And then I've seen it, but I don't know too much about it. It's the Booster Club.
Yeah.
Can you explain what that is?
Yeah. So the Vermillion Athletic Booster Club, we are a group of individuals, parents, community members that help to raise funds for the student athletes of Vermillion High School. And when I say that, not just the student athletes, obviously we're not giving them money, but we're raising money for projects, to subsidize what the school district can't do. So the school district has a certain amount of budget that they can go to. If students have camps that they want to go to and they maybe can't afford it, because their family can't afford it, we'll help pay for those things. If we want to do improvements around the school, or a team needs help, for instance, last year our basketball team and football team took long, trips out west. And so we were able to help them by getting them kind of a nicer bus, for the bus ride. Um, we put in a brand new soccer field 2 years ago, outside. We have spent money to upgrade the snack bar, outside and inside. And so there's a lot of things philanthropical that we do that all benefit the student athletes and the school district of Vermillion High School.
Is this new, or has this always been there?
Oh goodness, no. The Booster Club. I mean, Booster Clubs have been around for decades, but no, the Booster Club here in Vermillion's been around for some time. I've only been a part of it for 3 years. I went to a few meetings and kind of within the first, probably 3 or 4 months, and then I became the president of the Booster Club.
Oh,
I love it. It's fantastic. It's a wonderful opportunity for people to be involved. It's a wonderful opportunity for myself and our other committee members to be able to get to know business in the community. And that's a great thing about it, is we have so many businesses in our community in Clay County that support the Athletic Booster Club for Vermillion High School. And it's wonderful to be able to be in partnership with them. Some of them have children that go to the school. Some of them have children that have gone to the school. Again, myself, I don't even have a high schooler. And I have, I started, my older son was in 5th grade and my younger son was in 2nd grade. And people go, well, you don't even have a kid in high school. But for me, it's an opportunity to be involved in the community. And that's what I love. And that's really what we do. It's a nice opportunity for this group of people to be able to support the student athletes and to help them and the coaches and the staff at Vermillion High School to really kind of help to take some of the burden off of them financially.
Okay, yeah, I was looking on the website today. I should have browsed more on it. I wanted to go into it more blind.
Yeah,
and I saw like the memberships.
Yep,
and I see a lot of like my friends.
Yeah,
they're part of it. I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't, because I at first, now since you told me, I kind of get the gist of what it is. Because I was always wondering, I was like, but why have one? Because wouldn't the school provide everything? But you're saying that.
Yeah, I mean,
they
the
can't
school
provide
budgets. I mean, but as somebody who's been in education for 30 years, obviously I know, what, the struggles of a school budget. The district, the county, the school can only provide so much money for things. And again, remember, they're providing money for books, for band, for plays, for musicals. I mean, everything. So Vermillion also has, a music boosters club as well, and for the band. So for us, again, being a part of athletics, we are, like I said, a group of volunteers that will help to subsidize what the district can't put out. And oftentimes it's coaches coming up to us and saying, hey, can you help out with this? We need, this, we need some more equipment for something we're trying to do special. So what the school district can't fund, oftentimes through the partnerships that we have. And again, it's not just corporate sponsorships. It's like you were saying, individual sponsorship. My wife and I are individual sponsors, for our family. We have people that come in and said, hey, we want to be sponsors and we can come in at $25. Thank you so much. It's fantastic. And we have people that, that obviously can give, a great deal more. But it's nice to be able to partner with them to help fill the gap, so to speak, that, where the district kind of stops, we start.
Okay.
Which is nice.
Winnie Mays is Vermillion's full-service Aveda salon, offering haircuts, hair coloring, and a hair and scalp spa for the entire family. We use the highest quality, cruelty-free Aveda products. Call 605-658-1234 or visit winniemays.com to schedule a visit and treat yourself beautiful.
Yeah, okay. Now I get it. And it's really cool because it's benefiting these student athletes. What are I'm not more involved, but I watch a lot of the USD stuff.
Yeah.
I haven't seen much of the high school, and I should. What sports are very popular? I heard basketball is really great here at the high school.
So our girls won state championship last year, and they have a number of returning players this year, so they're doing well. Our boys team is right there as well. They were in the state playoffs last year as well for basketball. So our Vermillion athletics is very well rounded in its success. So from football, obviously in the fall, golf has won. Gosh, goodness gracious! I think they go 3-peat in state championships, or maybe at least back-to-back. They lost, I think, in the state finals this year, or the state playoffs this year for golf. So again, we have also, boys and girls golf. Volleyball is on the mend and kind of working its way back up. Our wrestling program, we have more people involved in our wrestling program this year, I think, than they have in a long time, especially at the youth level. So there's a lot of interest in youth wrestling, which obviously will then benefit Vermillion High School wrestling eventually. So yeah, basketball right now, I mean, obviously we're in basketball season. Our baseball program is strong. So, track is always, always does a great job. We have a bunch of wonderful student athletes that really excel. And I think that's one of the other things. And we came from San Diego, California.
Oh, okay.
And so obviously the pool for athletics and athletes is bigger. We have more student athletes here in Vermillion just because of our size that play multiple sports. So you'll have a kid that plays football, but he also plays basketball and he also plays baseball, or he plays, or she plays golf and then they play basketball and then they play, softball, in the spring. So it's nice to be able to have those student athletes and to be able to see them all year. And again, as the athletic boosters, it's nice to be able to really get to know those kids, not just necessarily by the sports, but the individual sport that they do, but getting to know them as a student and as a student athlete. We offer 2 scholarships as well every year to seniors. We have students fill out an application and write an essay where we give out $1,000 in our booster scholarship to each student, obviously to work and to use towards college. So there's a lot of things that we do, not just providing money for camps and equipment, but again, some of the bigger ticket items that we're thinking of here over the next year or so, where you need to put a new scoreboard in the gym, and we're going to be sponsoring that, and a new scoreboard in the brand new elementary school that just opened here in town. So we're going to be helping to sponsor that, and again, we need a new weight room. So we're looking. There's a lot of things that the Booster Club has an opportunity to be a part of that not only will benefit the student athletes, but will benefit the community as a whole. Whereas now you can have, more community, you can bring in more schools. And when you bring in more schools to have, so our school district would host an event, that's going to bring in revenue. It's going to bring in revenue to the restaurants, to the hotels, because teams stay overnight. So there's a lot of things that we're trying to help the district do to increase its infrastructure, to bring in more, more financial advancement for the community as well.
Was there is there anything like you want to see? Because you mentioned some of the things, something you want to see, something that you want, or one thing that I remember back home, it wasn't our school, but it was another school. They had what was it called? They had their little, an indoor athletic facility, or they had this. Is there something that you would want to see eventually? Yeah.
We're so fortunate to be here in Vermillion and have such a good partnership with University of South Dakota that it's nice to be able to utilize some of their facilities, which we get to do because of our partnership. So again, all of our football games are played inside the dome. So if it's snowing outside in November, everybody's going to be 72 degrees and warm because we play inside the dome. And there's, we just played a basketball tournament, inside the basketball arena, at USD. So there's a lot of things that, again, because of the partnership we have with them, that we get to utilize their facilities. I would like to see, again, greater infrastructure being made to the district itself, to the buildings. So again, for us, upgraded bathrooms to be able to utilize and have more events at our outdoor track. So we're going to be resurfacing our track. So let's be able to host more track meets. Let's be able to host more soccer tournaments. Why go to Yankton and have them play the state championship there when we could have had it on our home field? Here we can host those things. So if we're spending money to, outside at our outside facilities, we would be able to then bring in more teams, like I said, which would bring in more revenue. So people would come and they would eat lunch at some of our, our restaurants here in town. Maybe they'll stay over in our hotels, again, to bring that financial infrastructure back to our community as well. So I would like to see more of those type of things going on at the district, for Vermillion to be able to host more events.
Yeah. Okay.
And like I said, which again would bring in more publicity to the school, more publicity to Vermillion, more infrastructure, more financial gain for the community.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Because one thing I noticed, maybe it's just me, or maybe because it's like a smaller town, because I'm from like a bigger city.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, I guess maybe it depends on the sport, but there's a lot of traveling. Maybe it also depends on the sport. I remember, like, for example, the girls' soccer, and even softball, they just started.
Place. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I always wonder, I was like, why don't they just play here?
Mm-hmm.
But I forget there's also smaller towns and this and that. So that's why we'll go this way, this way, this way. But it would be nice if we can, like having like a tournament, bringing people, also help out, like, because if there's a lot of people here, they'll watch the game and maybe they'll go around like, hey, restaurant or hotels or this and that.
Yeah.
So, it helps the community.
You bet. Yeah. I mean, our baseball program, just did, a huge, kind of upgrade at the baseball park here in the park, which is run by the Parks Department, but still it's utilized by our baseball program. We just put in new batting cages at the softball field. So again, for us to be able to do some of those things to bring teams into our community, like I said, then they'll go out and eat lunch in our community. And those people that they're eating lunch for are community members with us and support the Booster Club. So we also want to help reciprocate that. Hey, thank you for providing, sponsorship with us. Now we want to be able to host events, so then we can now have those out of town people go eat at your restaurant, go to the movie theater, go do, things that in town, stay at the hotels again. So as those people from those restaurants and community members, support the Booster Club, we also then want to be able to, in turn, bring in events that are going to support them as well.
You're very involved in this, but you mentioned that you came from San Diego, right?
Yeah.
What? How'd you get over here?
People ask that a lot. People ask that, are you sure? Yeah. And we moved here on purpose. My wife is from here. So my wife played basketball at University of South Dakota. She is from Wakanda. So she played on some of those really good, wonderful, state championship Wakanda girls basketball teams. And, her family is all, they have a large farm up in Hurley and Parker, brother in Beersford, brother in Lenox area. So her family's all from here. We moved here during COVID. The state of California kind of shut down. Our schools really kind of went into hybrid. My boys were out of school for, goodness gracious, almost 2 years. Not out of school, but we're doing remote schooling, which was good for my older son, but not good for my youngest son. So for us, we needed to make a change. My job was moved from California, or from the West Coast to the Midwest. And, this is the place that we settled. I asked my wife, where should we live? And she said, Vermillion's a place. It's going to have the most for our children. She was able to get a job real quick at the high school. So we're both in education, both been teachers for years, decades. And so for us, it's been a great transition. It's a wonderful community. It's a great place to be able to raise your kids. The school district is top notch. The community is wonderful. I wish we had a Panda Express and better Mexican food, but that's just coming from a San Diego boy who really misses his Mexican food. We have good Mexican food, but I wish we had better Mexican food. I get it. But no, it's been great. I was even thinking about that today, was that when I was shoveling the driveway. Boy, I miss the beach. But as much as I miss the beach, as much as I miss my family who all still live in San Diego, and as much as I miss Mexican food, I love this community.
Okay.
And it's wonderful to be able to raise your children in this community and be a part of this growing and thriving community.
I can relate to the Mexican food because I'm not saying it's bad. It's here. It's actually, some of the stuff is pretty good. It's more Tex-Mex. Yeah. Luckily, my wife, she's from Mexico, so she makes the Mexican food.
I was going to say I'll have to come over for dinner. I'll have to come over to your house for dinner. No, you do. You miss those real good breakfast burritos, and you miss the, just the really good chili rellenos, and just the authentic Mexican food. There you go. Maybe not, I shouldn't say good. I should say authentic. That's what I should probably say.
Man, December, I don't know how many tamales we made, and we sold them. Man, it was a lot of tamales.
December's tamales month.
Yeah, but it was great. It was great. Do you ever, How did it with that change of weather?
Yeah.
Are you used to it or not?
I am.
You are?
Well, and remember, like I said, my wife's family's from here, so I've been coming for 20 years or more. Obviously during the summertime when, goodness gracious, it's hot in the summer here. There's no bones about it. In San Diego, got hot, but it's always kind of, 75, 80 degrees, sometimes 90. But here it's, goodness gracious, it's hot in the summer, and cold in the winter. So you get the, huge swings. I'm okay with it. The wind is the only thing I just haven't got used to it yet. I don't mind the cold, man. It can be 0 degrees outside, but if the wind starts to blow, it just hurts my soul. It's just, and I know that's probably the same thing for everybody, but for a Californian, I like to think that my blood's gotten thicker, but man, I can't get used to the wind. It just darn near kills me.
See, for me, the cold sucks.
Okay.
Because I'm from the Dallas-Fort Worth area in Texas.
Right.
I think for me, the summers here are beautiful. I'm used to more like 100 degree
with a lot
weather.
of humidity in Dallas.
Yeah. So here the summers, I can handle 80s, 90s. You'll still see me wearing a long sleeve.
Yeah.
There was one day it was like, I think it was in the summer. It was like humid, like very humid. I never felt that humidity. Summers are fine, but the weather.
Winters.
Man, the winters are brutal. For some reason, I don't know why, but when it snows, it doesn't feel as cold.
No. Yeah.
I don't know why though.
Yeah, I get you. Like I said, I'm okay with 5 degrees. I'm okay with 0. I'm okay with it. I think it's supposed to be 10 degrees on Saturday and Sunday, this weekend. It's just the wind, darn it. It just gets me and I just can't get used to it. That's the only thing that gets me is the wind.
A few years ago, I'm gonna say it was a year after we came here, because that first winter it snowed, but it wasn't cold.
Very mild.
Yeah, and then we came here 2020.
Yeah.
And it was fine. The following year, it didn't snow too much, but it got cold and there was wind. Yep. And there was one time I went to work and I was walking and it was windy and I swear I felt like I couldn't breathe.
Yeah.
And for me, I was like, am I okay?
Yeah.
And I was like, and then I went inside. I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And then that's when people were telling me, it's like wind chill and it can like affect you. Like, this stuff
gets in your lungs.
Kind of dangerous. Like these people are hardcore.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's, it's interesting. You learn to do things indoors, you learn to work out inside and but I still get out and try to walk the dog at least, 2 to 3 miles every single day, even unless it's pouring down rain.
Yeah.
And that's just because I don't want the mess in my house. Let's be honest. I don't want mud in my house. But if it's like today, I'll go back home and walk the dog just so, the dog gets out and gets his exercise and I get out and get my exercise. And it bugs me that people don't shovel their sidewalks and, but unless it's windy. Whew.
To celebrate our first year anniversary on March 1st, we are giving away a $50 Visa gift card. Head to the link in the description to enter, and winner will be announced on March 1st.
Do you ever do you ever go back to California sometimes?
Oh, all the time. Yeah. All the time. We were there last summer. I get back probably once every 3 or 4 months, just to visit my family, visit my parents, kind of go out for work and, stay a couple extra days and kind of visit, which is nice. I'll be back out again in next month. So yeah, it's nice to be able to kind of get back and gorge myself on authentic Mexican food and have some good family time and then get back here.
How is the culture different? I've never been to California. I don't know if it's similar to like Texas, but like how is the culture versus there and here? Have you noticed?
Well, I mean, being from San Diego, we're a border town. And so, the culture has changed even from when I was a kid. I mean, when I was a kid, it's old school. You got on your bike on Saturday and you were like gone at 8 o'clock in the morning and you didn't come home, till the street lights came on, till it got dark. Well, nowadays, you unfortunately, you kind of don't want your kids doing that anymore just because society as a whole has changed. I think probably everywhere. But, especially in some of those bigger cities, I remember the first summer we moved here, my mom calling and saying, "Hey, where are the boys?" I'm like, "I don't know." She goes, "What do you mean you don't know?" I have no idea. They've been gone for, I don't know, 2 or 3 hours. Where did they go? I don't know. They took off on their bikes somewhere. Mom, they're gone, but they're safe. And then she came and, she panicked. I said, Mom, this is a small town, it's a community. If something happens, I'm going to know before they get back. And then she came to visit and she's like, oh, I get it. Okay. Vermillion is kind of like my hometown in San Diego was when I was growing up. Again, it's small community. When I was growing up, everybody kind of knew everybody. You helped your neighbors. A lot has changed. And I think just as a society as a whole, that's changed, as time's gone on. But I think we're not as, in those bigger cities, people aren't as trusting.
That is true.
Like they are here. People still leave their cars unlocked. And I remember coming out of the post office the other day, coming out of the store the other day, there's cars running in the parking lot. Nobody in it, but cars are running just, because it's cold. And so you keep the car running. It's not happening in California. Somebody will take your car. Somebody will take your car.
Yeah,
we don't leave it running. Yeah, somebody will take your car.
We noticed that when we came here. So the first thing I noticed is like the garage doors, they were open.
Yeah. And
even at night. And I always wondered, I was like, did they forget? Yeah. I was like, there's no way, because there's a bunch of people that have them.
Yeah, you kind of want to go. I'm like, hey, remember your garage door's open. Don't go to sleep.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Myra, so it's a little more different in Mexico, but she noticed. She said, hey, there's no bars on the windows. And I'm like, yeah, there's, but because she was afraid to do people break in here. And I'm like, I don't know. Yeah. If they leave their, because also someone told me too that sometimes they don't leave their doors locked. They'll have them open. And for me, I was like, that's a little strange. Yeah. Usually there's nothing that happens here. I think one time a person at work told me that it's usually like a college kid when they're drunk. Either they'll steal a bike, but then they'll leave it somewhere. Yeah. You'll find it. But then they said that there was this, she had it on her camera. They're in the living room and this college kid just walked in and he was lost. And I was like, were you guys like freaking out? He's like, no, just told him, hey, can you leave? This isn't your place.
This isn't your house. You're in the wrong place.
Yeah. So it's different, very different.
Yeah, it's and again, it's nice because you want your children to still have the innocence of not having to worry about everything. I mean, with a fourth grader, you don't want your daughter having to worry all the time. Am I safe? Am I safe? Am I safe? You want your children to be living in a safe community. And I think that's what we have here in Vermillion. And that for me is what makes it worthwhile and makes me okay with having to shovel my driveway this morning. To be able to have that change, like, hey, if I got to shovel my driveway 3 or 4 times a year, and I'm only shoveling my driveway because my snowblower broke. So otherwise I'd be using my snowblower. But I will take that and let my kids live every day with the mentality that they're safe and they live in a safe community and it's a safe place. And mom and dad can go out at night and, you don't have to worry about anybody breaking into your house or something's going to, wrong. We don't hear police helicopters flying over all the time. We don't, there's not sirens going off all the time. And especially in the summertime, it's so different when the students leave, you don't hear anything, which is fantastic. But it's nice also when the students come because the town kind of comes back to life.
Yeah.
But still, no, I remember the first year we lived, like I said, that first summer my wife was with some friends and they were down at the river and needed her bathing suit. And so another friend was headed down that way and was going to stop by my house to pick up the bathing suit while I was gone. And my house was locked up like Fort Knox. Cause again, we had just moved here from California. And so you just lock everything. And she called me and I was I happened to be gone. And she said, this is South Dakota. Don't lock your doors in case somebody needs to get in to get something. Because now I can't get, your wife's bathing suit because your house is locked up like Fort Knox. I mean, I was like, yeah, it is. But you're right. It's like you have to be a little bit more trusting. And that's why, I love that. Well, of course, we lock our door when we go to sleep.
Yeah.
But, it's nice, again, just to be able to have a safe community. I work from home. It's nice. I'm home all day and I kind of get to, keep track of my neighbors. And it's nice for us to be able to, to take care of each other.
You like it here, even though there's no Panda Express?
Yeah, Panda Express and some authentic Mexican food. Yeah, Panda Express. So we get down to Sioux City and, my son loves Panda Express. So it's his favorite spot. So, anytime we get down to Sioux City, we have to run through there. It's kind of nice.
Is there any places in Sioux City you go to, to eat?
Yeah. I mean, like all the regular stuff. I mean, the stuff we don't have here in town. I mean, my wife and I got a gift card for Olive Garden. So we went there a couple days ago. We got one for Christmas. And, you go to restaurants that you just, if we have it in town, we're not going to eat it when we go out of town. And we're not going to go out of town and eat at McDonald's because we can eat in town here. We're going to eat at, places that we don't have. And so, but yeah, I mean, all the just kind of, your regular, run of the mill Outback Steakhouse and those kind of things that we love to eat. But again, also though, still at the time when I'm going out, I'm also still looking for additional businesses that want to help partner with the Booster Club, which is really nice. So again, even down Sioux City, because I know that, they have their own school districts and, some of the businesses, obviously not down in Sioux City, obviously that's Iowa, but, as we're getting down, towards the dunes and things of that sort, you're always kind of branching out, looking for people that want to continue to partner with you to help make a difference. So it's kind of nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, because you mentioned that you are in education.
Yeah.
How did that start? Is that what you always wanted to do when you were a kid?
Yeah. I remember being in high school, wanting to be a teacher and wanting to be a coach. And I've been coaching football and basketball and baseball for 26 years. And been in education. I started as a history teacher. So kind of worked my way up counseling and administration. And now I work as a vice president for a special education firm. So for me, it's kind of nice because I get to work from home. It's nice to be able to be on call for when my boys need something, to be able to take them to school and pick them up and still be able to volunteer at things like the Booster Club. My wife works at, like I said, at the high school, so she's busy. But yeah, it's nice to still have my foot dipped in the pool of education and get to work with educators every single day.
Now, what do people not know about it? Because I thought now it's different. I thought like if someone, for example, like a teacher, I was like, man, they have the best job because they get the summers off.
You bet.
But is there some stuff people don't know about? Because they're probably working very hard, especially those long hours.
Oh my goodness gracious. Yeah. I mean, where do I start? Education is such a fulfilling job. It's such a fulfilling career if you're in it for the right reasons. Mm-hmm. I remember starting, and my mom was, she was an administrator, so of 30 years. And so obviously I come from an education background. And I thought, again, same thing when I was young, I get the summers off, but then in California, you realize, oh shoot, you don't get paid 1 month.
Oh, you don't?
No, it's 11-month contract. So it's like, okay. So then you're learning to budget your money, for that month that you're not getting a paycheck. And, but yeah, you get great vacations, I said, but the thing that people don't think about is how personal we educators take our job and how personal the relationships that we have with our students become or can be. I've worked with students, and my wife and millions of educators have worked with students like this that have broken homes, that don't have anything for Christmas, that, think about suicide and think about, those horrible, horrible things. And you sometimes are their only safe haven. Your classroom is a place that they can come and feel secure. It doesn't matter how old they are. It doesn't matter if they're a kindergartner, or, a senior in high school. Sometimes your classroom is the only place that they feel safe. And as a teacher, you carry that burden home sometimes too, knowing that there's only so much you can do. You can't adopt that child. But if the child comes from a broken home, or the child comes from an abusive home, or, again, I've had students that have committed suicide. I've had students that have been murdered. I've had students that have had babies. I mean, so again, you as an educator, you take those burdens home with you. You say you won't, but you do, because you love them all equally. There are some students who are no fun to try to teach. Mm-hmm. And then there are some students who it's just a great joy. But finding a mixture of those students and the burden of being an educator it's because sometimes, a lot of times you're using your own money for supplies. Mm-hmm. You're going to Walmart and you're buying things for your classroom because it's easier, or because the district doesn't have the funds to do it, or fill in the blank, right? Sometimes you're going to buy, Christmas presents for students that don't have anything, and you're trying to secretly give it to them so they don't feel embarrassed by their peers.
Mm-hmm.
Or they're not going to have any food at Thanksgiving, and so you're trying to buy some groceries and get it delivered to them, like I said, so they're not embarrassed in front of their peers. So some of those burdens that teachers, not just teachers, but educators, so teachers' aides, counselors, administrators face, they're very real, and they do take a toll on you. And so those are kind of some of the unspoken. Yes, education's great. You get great community, you get great vacations, you get great days off. You do not get the greatest pay, unfortunately. But I think the biggest burden is the burden that you take on of each individual student and what's going on in their life.
Is it the same with coaching?
Oh my goodness, you bet. Absolutely. I mean, like I said, I had 7 kids in my basement. My son had a little Christmas party, New Year's party last night, and 7 of his buddies. But they're all 7 kids that are on my basketball team or been on my football team here in town. And as a parent, it's such a joy to be able to do that and kind of separate that from parent and coaching. But goodness gracious, yeah, I mean, there's I've had the highest of highs where I've had student athletes that have gone to the NFL and Major League Baseball and NBA, and then but also student who they've had an injury that has told them that they're never going to play again. Or you've had a student, in football collapse and die because of the heat. So yeah, you still take on those burdens. Cause again, even though sometimes it's not a teacher that's your greatest, advocate, but sometimes it's your coach, because you can talk differently to your coach than maybe you can your teacher or whatever the case. So yeah, there's been numerous times when I've had kids that I've coached that eat the food out of my fridge and sleep on my couch. And I love that. I'm completely okay with that, because that's how it should be.
What drives you to continue this? Because it sounds, I guess from my view, I'm like, well, this is hard, but maybe it takes those special type of people that can handle it. Because it seems
you have to have
tough.
a passion. You have to have a passion for it. Absolutely. I mean, you have to have a passion for it. And I think I would say a majority of educators, not all, but majority of educators do. And that's one of the things that, again, I love about this community is you take any of the coaches that we have at Vermillion High School, and, I've had direct conversations and workings with every single one of them. They all have the same passion that they would take in any kid off the street that needed help. They would stay after school. They would stay after practice and help. They would sit, on a bench and talk to a student about a problem. Any single one of the coaches here would do that. And I've again, so when you talk about community, it's one of the things I've learned, being here the last 3.5 years is you have a community of people who truly do genuinely care about each other. And it is a passion. If you don't have it, you can't fake it. And that's one of the things that continues to drive me is the relationship that I get with the students that I get to coach. Because there's going to come a time where my son doesn't want me to coach him anymore, my sons or his buddies. And I would rather have that relationship of that father-son relationship than coach relationship. That doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is most the father-son. Like same thing with you with your daughter. That your father-daughter relationship matters more than anything else. If she got involved in something, now you're involved in it. You try to separate those two. I want my son's buddies to feel comfortable at my house because it's my son's buddies, not because I'm their coach. I don't want there to be any barriers. But again, I kind of go back to any of the coaches here in Vermillion, would do that. And all my work is, and there are so many volunteer coaches that are here that would do the same thing in the community, that work at the baseball level, or wrestling, community basketball, those kind of things. You talk to those coaches and they do it because they want to be involved in their kids' lives and they want to make an impact in the community here at Vermillion. And that's why I do it. That's why I joined the Booster Club. That's why I stay involved. because of the positive influence that I see that it has in our community.
Well, what do you think about what makes a bad coach? But talking with like a son and a father, because throughout as a kid, I've seen coaches, with their sons.
Sure.
But have you seen those type of coaches that like, I don't know. It's not like they're pushing their kid, but they like yell, like
A little overbearing.
yeah. Like that. Is it? But I don't know.
There's yelling, and then there's coaching. I've seen a lot of those who just yell. At some point, the kids just kind of stop listening to you.
Yeah.
I think and one of the things that, because goodness gracious, I yell. But also in the very next breath, I'll also put my arm around a kid and say, hey, you're doing a great job. I love you. Here's what I need you to do different. I'm going to motivate you by being a little bit boisterous, by yelling. But there's a difference between those coaches who just yell and those coaches who will yell to get your attention or to motivate you or to get you to change an attitude. And then in the next breath, put their arm around you and say, hey, I appreciate you. I love you. Here's what I need you to do. And so I think that for me is the key to, I've had coaches on both ends. I had one coach who he just yelled and yelled and yelled. And that was the way he thought he motivated kids. And we just kind of all tuned him out at some point. It's like, we're going to keep doing what we're doing. You keep yelling. The only thing it's doing is stressing you out. It's not stressing us out anymore. And then I've had coaches who would yell, but then, like I said, but also put their arm around you and say, hey, you're doing good. Here's what I need you to change. And for me, those are the coaches that I took that same philosophy, because you want kids to know that you care. If you're not genuine, a kid will like sniff that out in like 2 seconds and you're done.
You think there's also a point where, because sports is fun.
Yeah.
I was involved in sports. My cousins, I like watching.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun. It's great. You think there's also a point where it could be with coaches or parents or even with kids where like, hey, you're, of course winning, you want to win. Yeah, it's too much. And hey, it's still about having fun.
Yeah. Yeah. You get to a certain level and it switches from, hey, let's have, like this last summer I coached, my son's 10U travel baseball team here in town.
Mm-hmm.
And there were times when, you kind of yelled to motivate those kids, but at the same time, it's like, nope, we're having fun. If we're not having fun, we're going home, right? There comes this time where, and I just don't know what age that hits, even with all my experience, where it's less about having fun and more about teaching because I think that's where we kind of go wrong. We don't teach kids to compete. Everybody gets a trophy because everybody gets a participation ribbon and that. I mean, you and I growing up, if you didn't win, you didn't get anything.
Mm-mm.
But now, even if you participate, parents still want to get, let's give them, why? We didn't win. Why did I get a medal? My team didn't win.
You got to teach them that,
it's very confusing.
You got to teach them that, hey, sometimes you will lose.
Absolutely. And that's part of life. It can be work. It can be anything. Get better. And so at some point we have to do a kind of a mind shift to teach kids to compete. What age that is, where we stop just promoting having fun. I think it's, if there's a kid playing rec basketball and a kid playing at the same age and a kid playing travel basketball, rec basketball, man, you're just going to have fun. But if a kid's playing travel basketball and their parents are paying for it and you're traveling all over the place and you're having practice, there's a mind shift of now it's a little bit more competitive. So, but it doesn't matter if you're a high school senior, you still, goodness gracious, you still don't want to take the joy that a kid has in competing in sports or band, or you still want them to have joy.
Mm-hmm.
You want them to compete, but man, have fun. If it's not fun, then why are we doing it?
That's true.
Even as a high school senior, playing football, man, it's tough and it's hard and it's painful. But you still want the kids to have fun, but you want to win and you want to compete, right? But you still want to, at some point as a coach, you have to find a fine balance of competition, competitiveness, and still fun. They have to have that. That's a hard balance to find.
Yeah.
Some coaches can do that. Some coaches can't.
I agree on that.
Yeah.
I agree on that. Now, we're running out of time, but I'm going to give you the last stuff. Is there any shout outs, promotions. Where can people find the Booster Club and everything?
Yeah,
Give me everything.
GoTanagers.com is our website. They can also go to the Vermillion High School or the Vermillion School District website, and there's a link to the Booster Club information there as well. We have Booster Club meetings the first Wednesday of every month. This month is different. Obviously, we did not have one last night, but just because of the new year. But our next meeting will be January 8th at the library at the high school. We always meet in the library at the high school. Like I said, the first Wednesday of every month at 6 p.m. Everybody is welcome. We will not turn anybody away. We would love to have as many volunteers as possible because many hands make light work. And again, what we're trying to do is continue to make an impact in the community by helping out Vermillion School District, particularly Vermillion High School student athletes.
Sweet. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to end it, but thanks a lot, Andy.
Hey, Jose, thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it. It's been fantastic, and Happy New Year.
Sweet. Happy New Year.
All right.